Hello, everybody. Welcome in episode 8 of Across America Good News Edition. This one for the week leading up to October 17th, 2025. As that little thing showed, my name is Chip Brewster. I'm a national digital host for Nexstar Media. And this is the 8th week, so we are finishing up the second month of doing this weekly series, which takes local feature stories from across Nexstar Media Group and brings them hopefully to a national audience where you otherwise wouldn't see them. And something I know I have not shown you before. Maybe you've looked it up when you've seen Nexstar, behind me, or I'm talking about it. But actually, I got this thing. So I have this map, and just as a quick visual, right, you can see most of, anyway, the newsrooms that we have across the country. And so it's really cool because this is the whole slate that I get to pull from and look through, where there's really cool local stories that just show a little bit of life, what your neighbor is up to, something positive in the local community, and it's happening all across the country. I mean, truth be told, especially this week, I don't know why, I had so many really good ones, so it was really hard for me to kind of dig through it and figure out what would be this week's show. But we've got some good stuff for you nonetheless. Some of the stories include this week what might be the best cheesecake in the country, according to one person, a story about a traditional canoe making and a blessing, an exotic animal sanctuary up for sale, a local celebrity of the four-legged variety, a different kind of mural. It doesn't involve paint. And that last video that came across the screen was all about keeping a tradition alive. So a lot of culture in this particular show, a lot of local culture in this show. Very cool one. And we're going to start, though, before we get to kind of the local culture, with what might be my favorite story that I pulled out of this week. And it's not so much the story itself, meaning the driving force behind this particular feature. This is hard for me to put into words, but it's about the fact you all probably had some kind of childhood dream. I know I did. And as a kid, you don't understand, it's a little more fantasy than realistic. For one woman, she did not let the fantasy of that dream go, and decades later, finally fulfilled it. So this is really about holding on to those childhood dreams and making them come true.
In Batavia, on a quiet patch of land just off a county road, there's a home where you'll find cows with bangs in every corner. The living room blanket always fluffy, the bathroom towels moo, and dreams are finally coming true.
I'm crazy about it, it's just, cows are like my thing. My whole house has always been about cows.
For decades, she's had Highland cows on everything but her own lawn, until now. Since childhood, Alicia dreamed of raising one of Scotland's majestic mop-headed mammals.
I remember my dad showing me a picture of them, and I said, one day I'm gonna have these kind of cows.
But life filled the years in, raising 4 kids and working 2 jobs to pay the bills. However, that dream never went out to pasture. So when her nest emptied out, she turned to her hubby.
And I was like, I'm ready to do this.
She tried to ease me into it without me really knowing it.
It took me some hard convincing.
I tell you, when she sets her mind to something, there's no stopping her.
Walk through the gate and you can't miss who won the fight.
Come on, pretty girl.
Meet Alicia's hairy 600-pound dreams come true.
Come on, Maggie.
Maggie and Mabel.
Every day I'm like, wait, is it real? Is it real that I have these girls? I'm so in love with them.
They have their own playlist and daily grooming, complete with hats and bows.
She says, Dad, Mom keeps harassing me and putting these silly bows in my hair.
With their flowing locks and chill demeanor, Maggie and Mabel now rule the backyard and the hearts of all who visit, even if
she looks a little spoiled.
Visitors come to pet the giant loves.
What you gain from being a cow parent is really special. They're really, really special animals.
Swang even her dog-loving husband, who is often found cuddling up to his favorite horned heifer.
This is a little piece of heaven, honestly. The cows are amazing. I eat steak, but I don't know about it anymore, man, I tell you.
Every day I look outside and I just can't believe that I have them. I get to see them from my kitchen window, so that's a blessing for me.
From bathroom towels to real-life cud-chewing cuddlers, Alicia proves that sometimes the wildest dreams just need a little patience.
It happened. It happened to me. My dream came true.
A few bales of hay,
Good girl. Man,
and a shady spot to soak it all in.
are we friends?
It's just something about that story. Maybe you're like, Chip, that was silly. You set us up with some high expectation. It was just a story about cows, but just like the way she talks about them, what we watched, like, I don't know. It really touched me to see someone fulfill that dream finally. So good on you. And I didn't say it, but that story, as you probably saw on screen, came from our station in Chicago, WGN. So this first block of stories, I talked about trying to figure out how to make the show. It's all about people and animals. Normally I save animal stories for the end, but these ones are all a little bit different, right? Fulfilling a childhood dream. This next one is all about a second career for a 27-year Marine Corps veteran. Check this out.
He asked about, are they therapeutic? They are.
Daniel Emmonson's life looks a little bit different these days.
The dream isn't totally fulfilled, but there's small steps that we've definitely accomplished, and we're getting closer.
Emmonson has traded 27 years of life in the United States Marine Corps
We have another one called Vinny. They're kind of our ambassadors, I should say.
for life on the pasture among his sheep, running a sheep grazing business with his wife Roxy called Woolly Green Grazers, helping their clients with vegetation control.
Still very surreal, though, because after 27 years, you talk different, you think different. Your expectations of probably your coworkers are different.
It was back in 1994 that Emmonson enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps, becoming an aviation mechanic. He deployed to Kuwait in 1998 as part of a Marine Air Ground Task Force, and again a few years later to do repairs on aircraft at an airbase in Japan.
Being an aircraft mechanic, it was a very rewarding job. I just knew that I could provide a lot more to the Marine Corps, and that's when I started looking at being a commissioned officer.
In his new role, Emmonson, now responsible for support, logistics, and strategic planning for Marines fighting overseas. His time as an officer included another deployment, this time to Afghanistan in 2008. He retired from the U.S. Marine Corps in 2022 after 27 years of service.
Transition is still taking place. I've been very fortunate to meet some, outstanding individuals that's helped me with that transition. Of course, the Marine Corps does a phenomenal job assisting, retirees. And
this is the part of the story where the sheep come in. Emmonson and his wife Roxy both had some experience with farming growing up. They had done some research on how to start a sheep grazing business and decided to make a move up to Wisconsin to get started.
So 7 sheep with a dream of getting up here to Wisconsin and build this into something bigger.
He says the sheep provide him with some peace and tranquility, something to enjoy in his retirement from the military.
So all of our sheep do have names. So
the sheep grazing business gives him a challenge to wake up and conquer each day, utilizing those logistical, strategic planning, and leadership skills he learned in the military. His talents not only benefiting humans these days, but also his four-legged, wool-covered friends.
I enjoy it. We enjoy it.
In Allegheny County, Paul STEENO, Local 5 News.
So, Marines, tip of the spear. I've been in the Army Reserve coming up on 19 years. I have the most respect for Marines. And, we kind of stereotype each other, the different branches. And I just would never picture a Marine cuddling up with a sheep, which is why I like this show so much, like seeing stuff like that. What a cool second career, like totally different speed of life. And that coming to us, as you probably saw and heard, from our station in Green Bay, WFRV. So 27-year Marine Corps vet using sheep and a dream to start a sheep grazing business. Very cool. Another one more kind of cuddly animal story. Cuddly's a word I guess you could use for this one. It's all about an animal that became a local celebrity to the point where people just knew who this animal was. You will understand more in about 2 minutes. Here it is.
The saying goes, mess with the bull, get the horns. But this bull is a little different.
Carl, you mama boy? Carl thinks he's a giant lap dog. He doesn't realize he weighs 2,000 pounds and has huge horns. But Carl is very friendly. He will never intentionally hurt anybody. He's the biggest baby on earth. I love attention.
Sharon Matthews got a call early one morning more than 10 years ago about a young bull whose mother had died and he needed someone to take care of him. For Carl, Sharon is his mama, and his home is the pasture behind her Warwick house. But occasionally, he takes an unintentional adventure.
9 out of 10 times, he will graze his way out of the pasture, not realizing that he's gone under the fence. So all of a sudden, he'll realize, oh no, he'd rather be in his pasture than loose.
And that is what happened this past weekend. But Matthews said Carl will only go where he's been before, which is from the pasture to the road in front of her house.
Everybody knows Carl. Even when it came over the scanner that Carl was in the roadway, it never mentioned a cow or a bull on Franklin County scanner. All it said was Carl, and everybody knew it was Carl the bull.
And now that Carl here is back in his pasture, he has 2 favorite foods that he loves to eat, and he's wanting more right now, but that's his chips and his Italian bread.
Bread and potato chips, especially Italian bread. On Christmas, he gets warm Italian bread and Pringles. He loves Pringles too. Right, Carl?
Carl has become an almost unofficial mascot of the town of Warwick. Police officers and firefighters in the town come by to see Carl. Kids on school buses put down their windows to wave hi. And Matthews even said high school and college graduates are coming by in the next few weeks to take graduation photos with the gentle giant.
That's just awesome, right? And that photo was so perfect. And you can understand why he got even a little more famous after that, where a news story came out just to talk about Carl the bull. So there you go. First section of stories, we had pet cows, and then we had sheep grazing, and then that last one from our station in Springfield, Massachusetts, WWLP, Carl the bull, unofficial mascot of Warwick. So some cool stuff, and we have got a lot more of this cool, positive, good news stories coming up when we come back from this break. See you in a minute. We are back, and we are continuing to talk about good news from across America. Here we are, episode 8, week 8 of doing this thing. And this next story is a foodie's dream. That's because we are talking cheesecake, but not just any cheesecake. According to a TikToker, the best cheesecake in the country. Take that how you will, but people listened. And now Big Nita's, so this is coming to us from Lexington, Kentucky, our station WDKY. People are lining up for.
I'm Marvin Bartlett outside a Louisville dessert shop where people have been lined up for hours waiting for the doors to open. It happens every Friday. It's 11 a.m. on a Friday, and passersby know something's going on East Main Street in Louisville.
It's like Black Friday shopping, but for food.
People are lined up around the block to get into a business that doesn't open for 2 more hours, and some of them have been there 3 hours already.
I got here about 8 o'clock.
What time do they open?
1.
Why did Christy Rice make an early drive from Bardstown to be the first one here?
Because I knew there was going to be a line, and I want what I want.
They're waiting to get a piece of cheesecake from Big Nita's, a small bakery that went viral a few months ago when a TikTok influencer named it the #1 cheesecake in the nation.
It seems like a dream.
My daughter gave me 1 bite, and that was enough to get me here.
This is what we'll have for today.
Big Nita is the nickname of Nicole Burks, who started making cheesecake during the COVID-19 pandemic just to break her boredom.
Just on a whim, accidentally. It was just something to do for fun, to occupy some time, and it turned into this whole business.
And we're here!
There's more to the story, which Nicole openly shares to inspire others. She says baking helped her feel her life had purpose when she was broke and recovering from a 9-year addiction to opiates and painkillers.
Even though I wasn't good at it, I taught myself to be good at it. And the universe was like, this is what you should do. So I went with it, and I took a chance and changed my whole life. What can I get for you?
Now Nicole is 5 years sober, 200 pounds lighter, and a testament to the rewards of hard work. She, her fiancé Roberto Davila, and 5 other employees turn out about 500 slices of cheesecake and 250 cookies each Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The supply never meets the demand.
People think like we don't make a lot because we sell out so quick, and I'm like, I can promise you every refrigerator in this building is full to the brim all weekend long with cheesecake.
Regulars say they don't mind waiting. It's part of the experience. They bring umbrellas, books, lawn chairs, food. It's kind of like a big tailgate party.
I've waited in line for bourbon before. I've camped out for shoes before, so weather's nice.
People are nice.
Might as well, people are nice. Good excuse to get out of the house.
We have people that have become friends, they carpool here together. I mean, it's just unbelievable how far people will drive or travel to experience it as well.
If there are 40 or 50 people in front of you, there's a good chance the sold out sign will go up before you get to the door.
It may. I'm having a little faith that they'll still have a little something by the time they get to me.
Those who do make it to the counter feel as if they've won the lottery.
Hi, babe. How's it going?
At Big Nita's, both the owner and the customers are proof. Good things come to those who wait.
Oh, it's worth it, I tell you.
In Louisville, Kentucky, Marvin Bartlett reporting.
So yeah, that's in Louisville, but as I mentioned, the story itself, our station in Lexington, the one producing that. So don't get the two confused if you're looking for Big Nita's. Cool? Cool. Now we're shooting over to a different part of the country, up to New York City. And this one is more of an art thing than a food thing. Actually, it's just straight up, it's an art thing. It's not a food thing. But I have always seen murals on buildings and on like electrical boxes just all over the place, generally paint, sometimes chalk, etc. But I have never seen a mural designed out of yarn. And the photographer at our station there, WPIX, is going to show us one.
We live in a city where there's not enough beautiful things. A lot of cement, but not enough beautiful things.
My name is Carmen Paulino, and I am a fiber artist, crochet artist, yarn bomber. I gotta bring it up a little bit more.
We are hanging Carmen community artists, massive crochet mural.
You can see it, you can feel it.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of skeins of yarn.
It must have taken a while.
It stretches all the way the length of this entire chain link fence.
This mural took about 11 months in total.
I think it's pretty awesome. Riding along, and then it compelled me to stop and have a look at the awesome culture.
That's the bass, this is the trumpet. Music played a big part in my life, and it still does when I listen to the rhythms of our community. And I wanted to just, bring that effect to the mural.
It makes you want to dance.
This is so special is that it reflects the community that's right here.
I grew up in a melting pot, all cultures in this community. I celebrate everyone.
I think it's hard to go past Harlem Rhythm. Harlem Rhythm looks pretty cool. It was good on camera.
This chain link fence is here because the Esplanade is falling in behind us.
It needs a little bit of help.
We're hoping that in the next few years, things come to fruition. But while we wait, we are so pleased to put on this art exhibit.
Everybody that walks by has a connection.
Well, it's just wonderful, and I thank you.
We hang something, and it's nice to actually hear the reaction as it goes up.
Hello, looks good, I like it.
Thank you. Hopefully this mural will be able to lighten up the mood when you're passing by, when you're running by, when you're bicycling.
Projects like this keep the momentum going for a reinvented East Harlem waterfront.
This is a wonderful thing. Makes it a pretty place. And I'm going on my run now.
A crocheted mural, right? Find me on social media and tell me if you've ever seen something like that before, because I had not until I saw this story. So happy that I could bring it to you on this show. We're going to stay out on the East Coast, but we're going to move south down to our station in Raleigh, North Carolina, WNCN, for a story about a local exotic animal sanctuary that doesn't want to close its doors, but the owners have to move on. So this is a look at a local place supporting those exotic animals, hoping to find a new owner.
Our goal is to preserve this 26 acres in all of its beauty, with all of its natural and human-cared wildlife.
Animal Adventure Sanctuary in Coates is looking for new owners, someone the previous owner says can manage 200 exotic animals, like monkeys, sloths, ostriches, and snakes.
This has been a mission of the heart. It has been literal blood, sweat, and tears for over a decade. The goal, in putting it up for sale is hopefully to find somebody that can take it to the next level again.
The 26-acre animal sanctuary has been here in Coates for more than a decade, educating families about the importance of preserving wildlife. All of these exotic animals got to call this place home after they were neglected or unwanted from previous owners.
Our world has become so separated from tangible reality, from nature and even from each other, that a space that you can walk into and really just let go, breathe.
The property and most of the animals will cost the new owners $2 million. Current owner Corey Freeman says she's not selling to developers or zookeepers. She says the purpose will stay the same.
It's going to depend on what the person wants. I would love to see animals that have come here that are elderly, like our foxes. Most of our foxes are 10, 11 years old. We would love for them to stay stable and be able to finish out their days.
Corey Freeman says there's no exact timeline on when she is looking for a buyer. She says she knows that this is going to be a long process, but she is open to any ideas prospective buyers could have. In Harnett County, I'm Shanilha KABIR, CBS 17 News.
One thing I should have said at the start, and I definitely said it in past episodes though, but because these all come from local stations, if you ever see a story or you want more information, check out that local station website. So that one, again, from Raleigh, North Carolina, our station WNCN. I've got 2 more stories for you on this episode of Good News Edition, but we got to take a quick break. I will say they are both about traditions. So if that's something you're interested in, don't go anywhere. And we are back to close out this week's show talking about traditions. So these are very cultural specific ones that, much like so many other stories, I personally would not necessarily know about unless I was living in that place, talking to those people. So just like you all watching this, I get to learn things right along the way. So for the first one, we're going as far west as we can go in Nexstar, out to Honolulu, Hawaii, and our station KHON, to witness a little bit of a traditional canoe blessing, along with hearing from a longtime canoe maker and what it takes to keep that tradition alive.
The blessing of Sonny Bradley's newest canoe, like all those that came before it, carries incredible emotion and meaning, but perhaps even more so this time around, because this newest Koa canoe may very well be his last.
Oh, thank God it's kind of done now because it was kind of stressful. But now that it's done, I feel much more relieved and happy. And I'm so touched. And what a feeling that it's done and it's ready to go.
While the blessing marks the beginning of the canoe's new life, the journey to get here started more than 7 years ago. First, finding a huge fallen koa log on the Big Island, transporting it to Oahu, and then discovering what, if anything, is inside of it.
It wasn't pretty. I looked at it and I said, well, it's the only ones we have. And I looked at it, and I said, you know what? The log is asking me to make a canoe out of it.
Doing what he's done several times before, Sonny taps into his artistry and emotion to bring the once majestic tree back to life, creating something even more magical and beautiful.
The wood will kind of let you know when it wants to go and everything, because it's drying, it's curing, it's get a little twists, cracks.
And it's not just the work, the sweat, and the tools that brings this canoe to life. It's the heart and the mana, his energy, that he puts into every one of his creations.
Every canoe has its own mana in a way that when you start working it, you have a feeling. And everything was really great. And then when I worked with this one too, it had was a lot of mana for some reason.
The process takes years, and even when it's completed, it needs to cure and dry before you can even put it in the water. And that same process is never the same.
But this one just somehow had a special feeling for a kind of unknown reason, but I could feel that special feeling.
Let's do it. Right now, let's do it.
And now when I see it in the water running and paddling, I know the feeling I had. It was special because I just look at it in the water and it runs perfect.
Howard DASHEFSKY, KHON 2 News, working for Hawaii.
Just awesome. Just awesome. That's it. I don't have any additional comments for you on that one. I do have one more story for you, though, staying with the idea of tradition. This one is all about hat making, and it's coming to us from our station in San Francisco, KRON, but it is taking place in Los Angeles. So just like our Lexington to Louisville, keep that in mind if you're interested in trying to check this place out for yourself.
Tucked beside Dodger Stadium in the heart of Los Angeles, an appointment-only shop weaves culture, craft, and identity into every hat it creates.
And we call these a campana, it's a bell, but this is just the hat body.
MARQUEZ CLÁSICO, founded by husband and wife team Gilberto and Cynthia MARQUEZ, is reviving traditional Mexican hat making with a personal touch and deep cultural roots.
I started making hats as sort of remembering what my dad used to wear, and sort of keeping that memory alive and that craft alive for a younger generation.
It began in 2016 in a Brooklyn apartment with discarded hats, YouTube, and Gilberto's vision.
Every day we are bettering our technique. I would think about Cheech Marin, my dad, my uncles, and then on my mom's side, she was into quebraditas, Ezequiel Peña, and Antonio Aguilar.
Determined to master the sombrero de charro, he sought out one of the last artisans who still makes them.
And so I contacted the maestro that I knew, and he said, no, too busy. And I kept bothering him for about 3 years. And finally he said, okay, book a flight and I'll teach you. And then I got a certification for making sombreros de charro.
Gilberto is now one of only about 11 people in the world with that knowledge, and it doesn't stop there. From lowrider fedoras, tejanas, to ornate sombreros de charro, MARQUEZ CLÁSICO now crafts heirloom quality pieces, blending old school Chicano aesthetics with timeless Mexican artistry.
I hope that with these hats, people see the diversity in our culture, the strength in our culture. When you wear a sombrero de charro, you are dressing up in the uniform of Mexico.
And every hat becomes a canvas when Cynthia picks up her tools.
Choreography is wood burning with a needle, like a fine needle. And from there, I took a small course of tattooing, and I put that into the type of needles that I use when I engrave hats.
Born in Puebla, Mexico, and raised in New York, Cynthia's engravings blend artistry with ancestry. Each piece is custom made, a collaboration of tradition, storytelling, and skill.
What started with just drawing agaves became a bigger thing than I ever expected.
From their garage to global recognition, Gilberto and Cynthia MARQUEZ are proving that fashion can be more than style. It can be heritage. In Los Angeles, Viviana Yvonne, CBS 47 Eyewitness News.
They said 11 people in the world with that knowledge. So that is something special. And you got to learn about it right here on Across America Good News Edition. Thanks for joining me for yet another week of good news from Nexstar. And I hope to keep doing this show and keep having you tune in. Until next time, I'm Chip Brewster. Take care, everybody.